I think there's a lot of reasons why it would make sense for them to move Marte, sign Bregman, solve their needs and holes on the team. And so it's a creative way of building a roster there for Mike Hazen and the Diamondbacks.
Is there actually a world where the Diamondbacks can go out and acquire Alex Bregman and keep Ketel Marte?
2 years ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks were 5 games away from a championship that absolutely nobody saw coming. They were these scrappy underdogs that clawed their way to the World Series with just 84 wins in the regular season. The fewest wins, by the way, for a pennant winner since the 2006 Cardinals. Fast forward to the next year, and people were already writing them off. It was a fluke, they said, lightning in a bottle. And for a while there, it seemed like they might have been right. The Diamondbacks finished with 89 wins, 5 more than their World Series year, yes, but they watched from home as the Mets and Braves split a doubleheader that sent both of them to the playoffs, while Arizona sat in their clubhouse, helpless. Manager Torey Lovullo later said, "I didn't love watching the Mets and Braves shake hands on the same field and celebrating together. They went to the big dance and we didn't." Then came 2025 and things got worse. And sometimes when things get worse or tight, we can all use a friend on our side, which brings me to our first partner on the channel. I'm really happy to announce it's Clover. With Clover, users can advance up to $400 before payday with no interest, no credit checks, no late fees, whether it's for an unexpected car repairs, groceries, rent, gas, or even an impromptu night out. Clover helps people bridge the gap until payday and avoid financial stress. So if you need a little extra cash, with Clover, you can access up to $400, no credit check, no late fees. Just click the link in the description below to sign up and let them know I sent you with my promo code. Thank you so much, Clover. I know I personally have been paycheck to paycheck and really could benefit from a service like Clover, where I can get an advance on my paycheck before it actually arrives to help me avoid financial stress and just keep on top of my life. So thank you, Clover, for everything you do and for partnering with Uni Diamond Talk for this video. Now that that's out of the way, let's get right into it. They entered 2025 with championship expectations. They set a franchise record payroll. They had the pieces, the talent, the experience, and it all fell apart. The injuries started to pile up. Ace Corbin Burns had a 2.66 ERA and was on pace for the best season of his career since winning Cy Young. But unfortunately, he went down with a torn UCL, requiring Tommy John surgery. The rotation that looked so promising on paper became a revolving door of struggles and disappointments. But here's the thing that's really stunk. They had to trade away their fan favorites. In July, they sent Eugenio Suarez back to Seattle, the very team they'd acquired him from just 2 years earlier. This is the same Suarez, by the way, who had become the 19th player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in a single game. The same guy who finished with 36 homers and 87 RBIs before the trade deadline. They then traded Merrill Kelly to the Rangers. They moved Josh Naylor. The Diamondbacks became sellers, and GM Mike Hazen admitted it.
I have to make those decisions, and those baseball decisions don't always align with what fans want to see.
The message was clear. The season was over. Time to reload for 2026. Remember that Merrill Kelly trade I just mentioned? Well, they just brought him back. The Diamondbacks just re-signed Merrill Kelly to a 2-year, $40 million deal, and according to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic, Kelly actually turned down a bigger offer from another team to come back to Arizona. Kelly, who grew up in Scottsdale and played at Arizona State, wanted to finish his career in the desert. He'd made it clear, even while with the Rangers, that he'd hoped to return to Arizona. So the Diamondbacks essentially got Kelly and 3 pitching prospects, Cole Drake, Mitch Bratt, and David Hagerman, from the Rangers. They traded him as a rental, collected the prospects, and then brought him right back home in order to compete. Pretty sick deal if you ask me. Kelly brings stability to a rotation that desperately needs it. Last season, before the trade, he was on pace for a career year with a 3.22 ERA over 22 starts for the Diamondbacks. Sure, he struggled a bit after moving to Texas, finishing with a 4.23 ERA in 10 starts with the Rangers, but he's a guy who's consistently delivers quality innings when healthy. In his career with Arizona, he's posted a 3.74 ERA and a 114 ERA plus over 162 starts. But Kelly wasn't the only move, because while bringing back Merrill Kelly was nice and all, it's not exactly the kind of move that screams we're going for it. Enter Alex Bregman. According to multiple reports, the Diamondbacks are getting really aggressive in the pursuit of Alex Bregman, and the rumor is the Red Sox and Bregman have gone completely no contact.
You start asking around like, hey, you heard from Bregman in a while? Like with Red Sox folks. You heard from Bregman? No. You?
No.
Bregman opted out of his contract with the Red Sox after hitting .273 with an .821 OPS, 18 home runs, and a .360 on-base percentage in just 114 games in 2025. And here's the thing, injuries limited him last season, but when he was healthy, he was elite. From his debut through May 23rd, he had a .938 OPS with 11 homers in 51 games. Then a quad injury derailed him, but he then came back hot with a .925 OPS through August 22nd before cooling off at the end. But the most interesting part of this whole story to me is that Bregman is actually from New Mexico. He grew up a Diamondbacks fan, and in the 2015 draft, the D-backs had the first overall pick, but they took Dansby Swanson, leaving Bregman for Houston at number 2. So this could be his chance to finally wear the uniform that he wanted to as a kid. Now, signing Bregman isn't cheap. We're probably talking somewhere in the $160-170 million range over 5 or 6 years. For a team that's supposedly cutting payroll, that seems impossible, right?
They gave us not much information, but essentially that we are going to have to reduce payroll.
Unless multiple reports have connected Bregman's potential signing to trade talks surrounding Ketel Marte. Marte is the face of the franchise right now. He's a 3-time All-Star who's been absolutely phenomenal over the past 3 years. He's accumulated 16 WAR compared to Bregman's 12.5. He's hit more home runs, driven in more runs, and posted an 887 OPS compared to Bregman's 796. Plus, Marte is signed for just $28 million over the next 2 years, while Bregman would probably make around $28 million in just 1 season. But here's the thing, trading Marte might be the only way to afford Bregman. The Diamondbacks are projected for a payroll around $171 in 2026, so that would rise to over $205 million for luxury tax purposes. Moving Marte's $16 million salary would free up significant amount of space for them. Now, there's also this other aspect that Marte will gain 10-5 rights in April, meaning 10 years of MLB service time and 5 with the Diamondbacks, which would give him a full no-trade clause. So if Arizona wants to trade him, the window is closing fast. The question is, does owner Ken Kendrick authorize GM Mike Hazen to increase spending and keep both? Or does Arizona make the tough call and trade their franchise player to chase a rental who could walk after next season?
In my mind, I'm like, okay, if you sign Alex Bregman, why would you trade Ketel Marte? If you're signing Alex Bregman, you're like saying, let's go get this. Let's go do it. Why would you get rid of Ketel Marte?
But what if I could tell you there's a way to trade Ketel Marte and get even better? Well, let's take a look back over at the Boston Red Sox. They gave Alex Bregman $40 million last year and traded Rafael Devers so he can be their franchise third baseman. If they don't re-sign him and he goes to the Diamondbacks instead, they're screwed. But guess what? The Red Sox, even before Bregman opted out, were seen as heavily interested in Ketel Marte. So what if the Diamondbacks signed Bregman? While they obviously get better as a team, they also put more urgency in the Red Sox to then go and trade for Ketel Marte, which could encourage them to even overpay for him. It kind of all comes together and makes sense. But while the baseball world has been buzzing around Bregman, there's another name that's been quietly floating around Arizona, and that is Luis Arraez. And this one is absolutely fascinating, but for all of the wrong reasons, guys. Luis Arraez is a 3-time batting champ. He's the only player in baseball history to win 3 straight batting titles with 3 different teams. This past season, he hit .292 and led the National League in hits. His 3.5% strikeout rate was the lowest anyone's posted in a full season since Tony Gwynn's 2.6% way back in 1995.
Arraez goes 5 for 5, now batting .400 on June 20th. This is fucking insane.
How does he keep going 5 for 5?
When you compare his career strikeout rate and batting average to the league average of their respective eras, Arraez and Gwynn are tied for the best batting averages ever, ahead of Ted Williams, Rod Carew, Wade Boggs, and Stan Musial. Those are legends, Hall of Famers, and Arraez is right there with them in pure contact ability. So naturally, teams should be lining up to sign him, right? Well, I don't need an intense breakdown to show you why he's anything but a legend. He can hit for average, sure, but outside of that, he can't play defense, he has 0 power, his speed is basically non-existent. Luis Arraez is the definition of a one-tool player. And here's where it gets weird. According to reports that surfaced a few days ago, the Diamondbacks allegedly offered Arraez a 2-year, $20 million deal, roughly $10 million per year. But here's the kicker. Arraez himself came out and denied the report, saying in Spanish, "That news you're giving is false. I've never been offered anything like those millions. I don't have an offer from anyone yet." So just think about that. With all those flaws that he may have, a 3-time batting champion with elite contact skills is sitting in free agency with apparently no serious offers. According to MLB trade rumors, Arraez doesn't seem likely to break the bank given the lack of punch and on base left behind his perennially strong batting average. In 2025, Arraez posted career lows with a .292 average and an OPS plus of 99, meaning he was essentially a league average hitter despite leading the NL in hits. Because here's the thing about Arraez, he finished with just 1.2 WAR this season. His .292, .327, .392 slash line was well below his career marks of .317, .363, and .413. So the question becomes, has baseball evolved past the pure contact hitter? Is batting average dead? One analysis called Arraez every old school player's idol, but every sabermetric nerd's worst nightmare. And that might sum it up perfectly. And yet, if the Diamondbacks are legitimately interested, even if that specific offer wasn't real, it would make sense for them. Arizona's offense has always valued on-base skills and making contact. Arraez walks more than he strikes out, uses all fields, and would fit their grinding, patient-focused approach. Plus, he's versatile enough to play first base and second base, just not at a high level. Plus, it's not like you need an extra base hit to score Corbin Carroll when he's on base. A little poke into the outfield will score the fastest man in baseball every single time.
They're going to send them all the way around. Corbin Carroll with an inside the park answer back.
But can they afford him on top of everything else they're trying to do? That's the real question. All right, let's zoom out for a second and look at what Arizona actually has right now. The rotation after the Kelly signing looks like this. You got Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, Ryan Nelson, Brandon Pfaadt, and Michael Soroka, who they just signed to a 1-year, $7.5 million deal. Corbin Burns is rehabbing from Tommy John and hopes to return around July, so you will get him back. But as a whole, that rotation is mid at the best, to be honest. It's not terrible, but it's also not exactly a World Series caliber rotation. Rodriguez has been injury prone, making just 23 starts combined with Kelly in 2024. Pfaadt and Nelson both had ERAs north of 4.20 in 2024. And Soroka is a reacclimation project who hasn't been consistently effective since 2019, which is why it all makes sense that the Diamondbacks are trying to get young controllable arms in return for Ketel Marte.
If the Diamondbacks are going to trade him, they want to get at least one, if not two, major league ready starting pitchers.
Now, the bullpen ranked 27th in ERA and 28th in FWAR last season. However, offensively is a different story. They still have the firepower. Corbin Carroll bounced back in the second half of 2024. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. provides pop. Gabriel Moreno is a Gold Glove catcher. If Marte stays, he's a middle-of-the-order force. And don't forget about Perdomo. The 26-year-old shortstop led the entire National League in B-WAR last season and finished 4th in NL MVP race. But even if they somehow land Bregman, even if they add Arraez and keep Ketel Marte, let's just say, they're still in the NL West with the Los Angeles Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres. The Dodgers run this division. It is going to be impossible for anyone to take that from them. So if the Diamondbacks are going all in, they're not doing so in hopes of winning the division. That's just not going to happen. They're doing it to grab one of those wild card spots and then get hot at the right time, just like they did in 2023. Now, let's bring this full circle back to where we started. Revenge. 2 years ago, the Diamondbacks lost the World Series in 5 games to Texas, watching the Rangers celebrate at Chase Field. Then they missed the playoffs by 1 game in 2024, and then completely collapsed in 2025, finishing well below 500 and becoming sellers. So is the Arizona Diamondbacks revenge season actually here, or is this all just off-season hype? Well, here's my take. If they land Bregman, this is real. That would be a statement. They're trying to break through and become a perennial contender. You don't just sign a player to a $160+ million deal if you're playing it safe. If they don't get Bregman, but still add pieces beyond Kelly, maybe Arraez, maybe a bullpen arm, then this is still a solid team that could sneak into the playoffs and get dangerous. But I wouldn't call Luis Arraez an impact bat, he's a depth piece at best. The next few weeks will tell us everything. The winter meetings just wrapped up and decisions are being made right now. Bregman is going to sign somewhere soon. The trade market for Marte is either going to heat up or cool down. Arraez is going to find a team or realize he might need to take less than he hoped for. But here's what we know for sure. The Diamondbacks are trying. After a devastating 2025, after trading away fan favorites, after watching from home as other teams made the playoffs, they're not rolling over. Ken Kendrick proved with the Burns signing that he'll shock the world when he believes in his team. Mike Hazen has shown he's willing to make bold moves. And this roster, with the healthy Burns returning midseason, with Kelly anchoring the rotation, with their offensive weapons intact, has the potential to be dangerous. The NL West is brutal, yes. The wild card race will be a bloodbath. The Dodgers aren't going anywhere. But if there's one thing we learned in 2023, it's that the Diamondbacks thrive when everyone counts them out. So yeah, maybe the revenge season is here. Maybe this team that got embarrassed in the World Series, missed the playoffs by one game, and then completely fell apart is about to remind everyone why you should never write them off. Or maybe they're just getting our hopes up before breaking our hearts again. Either way, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Let me know what you guys think. Do the Diamondbacks actually go all in, or is this just smoke? Would you personally trade Ketel Marte for Alex Bregman? And what do you think about Luis Arraez potentially landing in the desert? Is he worth it? Is he overrated, underrated? Let me know in the comments below. And again, subscribe and turn those notifications on for a chance at a jersey we're giving away every couple of uploads. But that's all for today. I'll see you on the next one.